Hello, cutlerylover here. This video is just to show a bunch of different sharpening tools and systems that I like to use. The first thing, I'm going to start off cheap and eventually get into more expensive things. This is a cheap sharpening stone. You can see the price there. This was 99 cents. I got this at a surplus store. Very simple stone. The darker, one side that's darker is the coarse side, and then the lighter gray is a finer grain side. This sharpening stone works, but it performs like you would think a dollar store or $1 stone would perform. I use this on extremely damaged or very dull edges. If someone were to bring me a knife and say, "Can you please sharpen this?" and I can see that it was abused or it just totally neglected, I would use this stone first, just to get a basic shape to the edge, and then I might go on to something more fine, like this Arkansas stone. Arkansas stone is a natural mineral, natural stone that is mined in Arkansas. That's why it's called an Arkansas stone. This one just happens to be made by Smith's Sharpening Systems. This is just a stone, medium to fine grit. It's mounted on a plastic base, which cannot be removed. It's glued in. But this is a wet stone, meaning that you soak this in water prior to sharpening. The water in the stone helps to assist as you're sharpening to get the metal dust that forms as you're sharpening the blade. You get metal filings and very small particles of metal that sit on your stone, and the sharpening just helps to push that away from your edge as you're sharpening. Keeps things a little neater, I want to say. I just put down a little plate, Tupperware kind of dish, and then put this in there with the water, and every now and then I'll flip it over and dunk it in the water, and then flip it back and do my sharpening, whatever I have to do. So stones are great. A lot of people who are familiar with knives, they like to use stones, hand sharpen their knives on stones. But I realize that stones are not for everyone, especially beginners, because with a stone, you have to keep your edge control. As with this, which is a ceramic sharpening rod. Now this is, let's see, this was $1. This is a $2 rod I had purchased online. This is about a $9 stone at Lowe's or Home Depot. But with stones and rods, the problem is you have to have some kind of basic sharpening knowledge, on angles. If you do a pass at, like, let's say a 15-degree angle, and then you come in again and you turn that edge just a little bit, now you're at about a 20 or 25-degree angle. That changes the whole edge. And without getting much into that in this video, basically just want to say that hand sharpening on a stone or a rod like this takes a little experience. So if you're not experienced with that, I suggest something like this, or something like this. Now these are fairly cheap. Walmart sells these in the hunting section. You can get these at hardware stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, places like that. Very simple. Two-step sharpening system. Excuse me. You can see in there, on the bottom you have two preset coarse stones, and the top two preset fine stones or ceramic stones. Now these are preset to a specific angle, which I believe offhand is 15 degrees per side, which comes to a 30-degree edge. Now you can use this in two different ways. You can keep your blade upside down, and you put the sharpening stone over the blade, and you do a couple passes. Or you can hold this stationary and bring your knife through it. A couple passes on the coarse side, then flip it over, a couple passes on the fine side, and you have a very usable edge. This is great, like I said, for beginners. It's cheap. It won't spend all your money on it, and it will give you a decent cutting edge. Not a awesome cutting edge. It won't be shaving sharp, but it will certainly be usable, for opening boxes, your average cutting tasks. Now something like this is mainly used for kitchen cutlery, but it's advertised to be used for all kinds of knives. This has a carbine tip, which is extremely hard, and again, this is also preset to a specific angle. And how this works, you have the guard here so you don't cut your fingers. Blade goes upside down, whatever knife you're using. Carbide goes to there, and then you slide across. Do a couple passes. The problem I have with this is that because it's carbide, it takes off quite a bit of metal. Even with a couple passes, it takes off a lot of metal. And it will give you a good cutting edge, but it's not a finished edge. Not something that I particularly like. So I might use this on a knife, and then from here finish up on a ceramic rod or a stone to get that good finished edge. The neat thing about this is this also has a in the handle here. You can it has a ceramic rod that's on 2 springs, so that this adjusts for lefty or righty to sharpen scissors, left-handed or right-handed scissors. So you put your scissors in here, and then you with your hands you press down the scissor handles, and then as you slide back, it's going to cut the correct angle for your scissors to sharpen your scissors, which is nice. This, I believe, was still under the $10 price range, probably about the same as the Arkansas stone. Again, good for beginners if you don't want to deal with angles or human mistake. Certainly this little tool here will get your knives reasonably sharp. But again, a little amateur, if you're dealing in very high-end knives and stuff like that, you're going to want to move to something a little bit more, I want to say, hands-on maybe. This system here and this really take the thinking out of it. You use this, sharpen your knife, you're done. There's no thinking, you don't have to worry about messing up. It's pretty much foolproof. This is just a pocket rod, sharpening rod. Loosen this here. This comes out, one side is flat and then rounded on the other side, and then the opposite side is tapered to a point. I use this often on the road. I'll take this whole thing, I'll keep this in my bag, and this is good because you screw that down, tightens it up. I use this for serrations sometimes, just to touch up serrations. This is also made by Smith's Sharpening Systems. This was a $5 product at a local Walmart, although I imagine that outdoor stores, hunting, fishing stores will sell this to keep in your tackle box, stuff like that. Really easy to transport, small package. Use like a regular sharpening rod. This you do need to know some basic angles and keep a steady angle when sharpening. This actually has a little groove in it. You can see that. That groove is for sharpening fish hooks, but also good for sharpening darts. So that's basically some of the cheaper items. You have that item there, then you have your ceramic rod, this simple system here, and this, and then your 2 stones, your crappy dollar store stone and your little upgraded Arkansas stone. Again, I talked a little too much, and I'm at 8 minutes and 35 seconds, so I'm going to stop here and make a part 2 for my favorite 3 systems that I use. So check that out. Thank you for your time.